ladies and gentlemen, this is officially episode 23 of Within Range with your boys, Dom Juan and Jared Suter. The ear god is not with us physically, but he is here spiritually. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a special one we got today. Again, I know I might sound repetitive, Jared, when I say that. But for real, this is a guest that we've talked about on many episodes, almost every other episode. One of my brothers from another mother, one of my first friends I ever made moving to Arizona. This man changed my life in a lot of ways, man, when it comes to music, when it comes to movies. He was a character from the jump when I met him. I know I introduced you to him recently.
I had the honor about last year, probably about a year ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was last November.
Yeah, nice.
Sounds about right, man. But ladies and gentlemen, the man of many names, he's got a lot going on right now. He just started a clothing line. He drove all the way from California to be here with us. Let me see if I can get most of these right. Don Macanudo, a.k.a. Tangelo Man, a.k.a. Tengelic Relic, a.k.a. Dunzo the Creep. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Tommy Cipollaro.
Yo, God bless. It's a pleasure to be here. My kid brother Dominic, and obviously my man Jared over here. Been very entertained by some of these previous episodes, and it's an honor and a blessing to be here. And, every time I hear my name on the pod, I get like giddy like a little kid on Christmas morning. I feel like that keeps my soul alive right there. It's like that movie Coco. You've seen it, obviously, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like how the soul is in purgatory.
I haven't seen that one.
I know what it is. People forget about
though.
them, they perish, but otherwise, they stay relevant. So, it's time for the second coming, straight up. And I'm here for multiple reasons, but mostly because my kid brother Dominic over here invited me to the Wu-Tang Clan concert tomorrow night with Nas and Busta Rhymes. So what could be more appropriate? When it comes to hip-hop, that is probably the pinnacle of hip-hop right there, New York's finest. And I could talk about hip-hop all motherfucking day, man. So let's do it.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, appreciate you coming on, man. It's an honor. Again, we wanted to have you on. We wanted you on, man, to not only share some of your story and your journey, but also help bring ideas, inspiration, and creativity within range to all listeners, brother. So, again, appreciate you coming out, man.
No doubt.
All right, so let's get started. So, Jared, I think it's only right that we kind of start with like how Tommy and I met, more or less. And this is a great story in itself. So I'll go ahead and Tommy tell this story. For those who may know, this may not be the first time you're hearing it, but so I just moved to Arizona. I was a semester into SEC, starting my second semester. And college, no matter where you're going, first day of class, no one's talking to each other. It's awkward silence, right? Yeah. You're waiting for the teacher to come in and do the syllabus.
Yep. Syllabus review. Yeah, it's the best. It's like a freebie that day. You're like, oh, I start school next week, but you got that freebie week. Yeah.
Correct. So, and at that point, first semester, I made a few buddies. I was hanging out in Tempe every now and again, but didn't really, met anyone that stuck at that point. And it was English class. Shout out Professor Bloom. I still remember you, Professor Bloom, one of the best teachers at SCC. But anyways, I'm in
go
class.
Chokes.
Yeah, go Chokes, baby. I'm in class. I'm sitting there. It's quiet. And, a few more people filing in. Class is about to start. And this dude walks in with this big-ass afro, kind of wild looking. And he walks in, and it's super quiet. And he just goes up to the teacher, and he goes, hey, man, I don't know if you noticed, but the bathroom that's closest to us is locked down. I really got to take a piss, so I got to go all the way across campus. And the room just erupts in laughter, dude.
That's awesome. I love it. What an impression, coming in just swinging.
And right away, I'm like, I got to get to know this dude. He was a character from the jump. And then from then on, man, I learned, that he was a huge hip hop head like I was. He was a movie head like I was. And the rest is history.
I feel like that gives some Van Wilder vibes walking into that classroom right there like that. Like, hey, what's up, prof? I got to go. Gotta take a leave,
that was an awesome teacher, man, because like a lot of English teachers back in the day used to be mad strict about like the essay structure and everything like that. This guy liked me so much, he would just give me an A like automatically because he just knew I knew what I was doing compared to, like, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. It might be the one thing I am good at is writing an essay. So, but yeah, those high school teachers that would give you a hard time based on your subject matter. But that dude was cool as hell. He even came to the movie premiere, And then and then we did remember they used to have a little open mic on campus as well.
Let's talk about that. So that was going to be my next thing.
Where was that? Is that the Memorial Union, like in the student section?
No, this
Were
is
you a
SEC.
Fighting Artichoke as well?
This is Scottsdale
SEC.
Community
Oh
College.
yeah,
I wasn't at
Artichokes.
ASU.
Okay, that's right. Okay, you're still at SEC. Okay.
So I'll paint the picture. So I meet Tommy. We would hang out, in between classes, outside of that. But then, like before our class would start, there would be like this open mic, just like performance thing where they would bring pizza that would bring people in, but you had to like get on the mic and say something. And you did it a few times, but the time I want you to talk about is when you went up there and did the Eazy-E.
Well, yeah, I needed some participation. I'm a big Eazy-E fan since way back in the day when I got one of my sister's boyfriends just hooked me up with a bunch of cassettes, and that was kind of my introduction to a lot of gangster rap. And so I was like, oh, okay, there's this one Eazy-E song that's slightly radio friendly. I mean, he talks about robbing people. He drops a lot of like pretty obscene subject matter, but he doesn't use any too much vulgarity. So I was like, oh, okay, I know this song word for word. I'm going to spit it on the mic in front of all these kids over here, whatever, college
just
students.
Unsuspecting college audience.
And all I need is I need Dom to help me out because the song is called No More Questions, and he's being interviewed.
Hold on, let me stop you real quick because all Tommy told me, now I didn't know, and again, I'm an NWA fan, but Tommy, we're going to get into how he expanded my knowledge, but all he told me was, bro, I just need you to go up to the mic and say, so easy, I'm drawing a blank, so easy, why,
Tell us, how was your life as a youngster? Ruthless, my style as a juvenile, ran with a gang, slang to the meanwhile, banking. I specialized in ganking, whites, Mexicans, brothers, and others.
So listen, so I don't know what to expect, right? All he does is say, go up to the mic and say that. I go up and say it. Dude, he literally like ripped the mic, okay, and started spitting it. Dog, there were people walking to class. They stopped and watched Tommy perform. Swear to God, there was this one dude in the back that was like this, bro. Rocking and shaking.
Had the lighter out.
Dude, Tommy was killing it. Dude, one of the funniest fucking things I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's amazing. Those are those college memories, dude.
That was a good time because, I was going to say today, I was like, it's been 11 years since my last interview because that's when I got interviewed for Sanctified back then. But then I just remembered when I was driving down here today that I got interviewed for some project a few years ago in LA somebody did this thing where they interviewed 365 people for every single birthday for the year. So they chose me for my birthday. And other than that, those are the only 2 times I've been interviewed in the past like 11 or 12 years. So it's good to, there's a lot to catch up on.
The drought is over.
Yeah, I finally did something and now now I can talk.
Hell yeah, man.
I didn't do much, but I survived.
I'm wearing what you did, so I'd say that's something, dude. We're surrounded by it.
Hey, so yeah, let's talk about that before we continue on. On other episodes, we've displayed merch. Not quite like this, though. You could see we have it displayed everywhere. We're going to get into Tommy's brand a little bit later because I definitely want to highlight that, but we are all rocking merch. This is a brand that I'm supportive of. The pod is supportive of. We're super happy that my brother is doing this. He's got a lot of dope things coming. Everything he's brought here, it looks amazing. And I know he's got some good things. But Tommy, really quick, man, before we, again, get into a lot of this stuff, going from SEC and that, you're one of the only friends or people that I know really that has actually made a film. So that's one of the first things I want to talk about is your movie Sanctified. I was, Jared, honored enough to go to the premiere and actually bring some of my family members to it. It was in Tempe. You did the premiere?
Yeah, it was a place called Madcap Theaters on Mill Avenue. I don't know.
No shit, that's that's that artsy one right on Mill Avenue.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
next to Hippie Gypsy.
So it still exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or, yeah, right next to that Mellow Mushroom spot.
Fun fact, I actually tried to get... Oh, that was that theater. Different one. Okay, there's a little independent one off Mill Ave. I know, that's like by Hot and Juicy. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
I actually called them in my senior year of high school and tried to get Will You Go to Prom With Me on their marquee, but had to pay the fee and didn't have the funds in high school. But sorry, different theater. I know the one you're talking about. I've been to that one too. That's even nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool because my film was projected on the same exact screen where I had seen... one of my all-time favorite films, Evil Dead 2. If you guys haven't seen it, it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. and then one of the most disturbing movies ever made, Lars von Trier's Antichrist.
Ooh.
And both of those films on the same screen, and then boom, my movie on there a couple months later. So that was a cool feeling, and there was a massive turnout. So that was one of the greatest nights of my life, to be honest with you. A lot of prolific stuff has happened to me this year as well, but that's one of those moments. There's the Ghostface killer moment, which I talk about.
So wait. So before we jump around though, I personally just know, because I was hanging out with you a lot back then, that during the filming you were actually going through some shit, man. Like I remember you talked about how some of your psyche, maybe some of your mental health was being affected at that time when you were making the movie. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because the whole editing process of that film was just very grueling, as is any film. And then you do start to see the parallels with your reality. I'm not going to go into too much details of that, but I was dealing with a film based on spiritual warfare and stuff like that. So you do tap into things that you might, be better off not tapping into. Let's be real. But at the same time, I had a story. I wanted to tell it. I just got back from the East Coast where I lost my home in a fire. That's a whole different story. But I was a little shaken up by it, and I was like, all right, what's going on in my head right now? And that was Sanctified. So I didn't sugarcoat it. I made a little movie, and we had a great time doing it, and we want to make more. But that was an awesome experience because we just had a lot of support for it. And that's all because of Keil Williams. Actually, you want to do a shot for the man?
The next thing I want to get into is basically what took you from Phoenix to LA, because it wasn't long after we kind of first met. It was a couple years later in your movie premiere. You made the journey to LA. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a shot now. Another first on Within Range.
This is a rest in peace shot for our fallen soldiers from the Sanctified era. Keil Williams and Eddie Bolero. Rest in peace. God bless your souls.
Here we go. All right, so Tangelic, tell us, man. So, I know you were originally born in New Jersey. You came over to Arizona as a young boy, so you pretty much grew up here. Going to LA, man, that's a pretty drastic change from the Valley to there, man. What took you out that way? And tell us.
Well, first of all, it's easier than you think. It's only 5.5 hours. You just got to know a couple people.
Sure.
So. But you got to go out there with a nice chunk of change. Otherwise, you're going to get or a really good job lined up, because working in the film industry out there is very hit or miss when you first get out there. So you got to establish 5 or 6 solid connections, and that's when the work starts getting consistent. But at the same time, there was a lot of mistreatment on set. There was a lot of jobs that didn't pay very well, and just like any other industry, a lot of scumbags. So, but it's all good though.
When working on set, how many times someone go Christian Bale on Terminator? You ever seen that clip?
Yeah, when he loses it.
Get up! What the fuck?
Think for one fucking second. The fuck are you doing?
Or Salvation or whatever.
It was Terminator Salvation.
I didn't even know Christian Bale was in a Terminator.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So Christian Bale was in that. I think it was in Salvation.
So wait, he freaked out on Batman and in Terminator?
He freaks out on. I think it's like a gaffer. It's like a guy with the mic and stuff. And he's like, really, dude? I'm trying to work here, dude. And he goes off, and it's worth a quote. And me and my buddy, shout out Gavin. We said this to each other all the time, but it's just one of those. He has this moment where he's like, "Oh, you're trying to do your job? Well, good for you!" And he just absolutely loses it on the guy.
It's great.
So that's when you say the mistreatment. I'm like, yeah, I don't doubt that, man. I mean,
yeah, they really need to snap out of this high school hierarchy mentality where it's like Boy Scouts all over again, and it's just like grow the fuck up, and these divas and stuff. It is funny when. I'll just give one example of something stupid I had to do as a PA back in the day on the American Bible Challenge hosted by Jeff Foxworthy. They're like, go get Jeff Foxworthy.
Hosted by Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah, go get Jeff Foxworthy a pillow. I must have bought 5 different pillows. They kept sending me back to go get a new one.
What?
Turns out the dude didn't even want a pillow. It was just a waste of time, waste of money, waste of energy. These
You might be a redneck if you send a PA out to get a pillow.
No,
But there is no pillow that you want.
you might be a narcissistic diva fucking loser if you're sending people out to get pillows just so you can. But no, Jeff Foxworthy's a stand-up dude, man. That guy doesn't give a shit about a pillow. Are you kidding me?
That's hilarious. All-time Jeff Foxworthy for me was just because I've spent a little time in the South, and there's no disrespect, but you might be a redneck if your porch collapses and more than 4 dogs are killed.
Oh, that's messed up.
Dude, that's awesome. On the set of Jeff Foxworthy's Bible Challenge. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, I got mad industry stories, you know. I mean, obviously, I worked with the Braxtons for a long time, Tony Braxton and her family.
Talk about it.
Well, I mean,
Talk about
we could talk about New York. Tiffany.
Oh,
Is that I Love New York?
Yes.
Tiffany
I Love New
Pollard.
York. Oh,
Yeah.
Tommy had a little fling with her.
Well, she
Go ahead, you
she
tell
was
it.
super into me. She wanted to date me, but she moves quick. Let's just put it that way. So,
Bro.
you know, at the same time, I wasn't sure.
True stories,
Were you
dude.
wearing a
But
clock or
that's
no?
the thing. Oh, we'll talk about hip hop straight up. So this was in Wyoming. So this is a little bit of a crazy story, and you wouldn't expect this to even happen.
That sounds like the name of a porno, New York and Wyoming.
Well, that was one thing I just said to her. I was like, I haven't been to New York in a while. She goes, you might get it. You might go to New York tonight.
Oh, let's go.
You might be in town.
Yeah, but it's. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. But I was in Wyoming for the Braxton show. The entire cast had quit the show.
Really quick, Tony Braxton, for those of you who are asking.
The entire cast had temporarily quit the show with the exception of Tracy Braxton. Rest in peace. She just passed away a couple years ago. Tracy, you were a good woman. Anyways, so we went to go promote her new brand of whiskey called Black Cowboy Whiskey, which, by the way, is the most life-ruining whiskey I've drank, and I've drank a lot of life-ruining whiskeys.
Life ruined.
So, anyways, it was so we went out there to celebrate the legacy of black cowboys, straight up. And because they didn't think that Tracy was going to be able to sell the episode herself, they decided to pull in some reinforcements like Phaedra from The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She is a fucking amazing woman. And then Tiffany, the HBIC Pollard, and Flavor Flav.
Ooh.
Flav was there.
You got
Flav
to meet
was
Flav.
In Wyoming.
And
so
she was still coming on to you. Oh, I'm excited for
we're
this story.
flying around on quads and stuff. It was an adventure of a lifetime. But Tiffany that's New York. She had the great idea, or at least this guy's psychotic boyfriend decided he wanted to come along. Some white dude who claimed to be rich. And this dude, my one job was to take care of New York. So one morning, which was great because she was always super late, so I could sleep in the mornings. This one morning, she calls me up. She's like, "Oh, Tommy, I'm ready." Like, she was ready on time. I was like, "Cool." I go down to the lobby. It's Sundance, Wyoming, this little town. That's where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm in the lobby, and then she calls me back up. She's like, "Tommy, I need you up here. It's an emergency." I was like, "What the hell?" So I go to her room. And then she's in the middle of like a domestic dispute with this dude. So I'm like, yo, what the hell is your problem? Like, we are working right now. I got to take her to work. I'm working. Like, you're not supposed to be here. You're a jerk off, right? And so,
Her boyfriend.
so I was like, she's coming with me, dude. Like, and you can stay here. And then he's like, oh, we gonna have a problem now? And he gets in my face, and I'm like. And then he grabs her and pulls her in. I'm like, well, now you just got physical with her. So, yeah, there is going to be a problem. And meanwhile, then we have the staff of the Best Western, like, running up the stairs to, like, intervene. And then I just grab Tiffany.
The Best Western Task Force, dude.
I give her shelter in my room. She has a beer to calm her nerves and all this stuff. And then
what was it, a Budweiser?
Red Dog, baby. I'm glad you asked, actually, because Red Dog.
Red Dog?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
I think you said
dude.
Red.
That was my favorite beer back in like the 8th grade. So,
The 8th grade.
so as soon as I got to
So you're a
Wyoming,
knight in shining
and I
armor,
saw
dude.
there was like a 24-pack of Red Dog, I was like, purchase, man. I think it was like $10 for a 24-pack, probably.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's me at Trader
Dude.
Joe's when I see Simpler Times 6-pack for $2.99.
No offense, man, but that shit is disgusting.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
On the other hand,
like $2 Chuck with
Red
beer.
Dog is awesome. That's like Pat Blue Ribbon's superior brother right there. Especially because I'll take the color red over the color blue any day. So
True that.
Red Dog represent. I actually thought about getting a Red Dog tattoo because the logo is super gangster.
All right, keep it going with the story.
Okay, so long story
I'm a
short,
youngling guy in beers. No,
then
I'm just kidding.
she hits me up. She's like, I'm going to get us a room with the Roosevelt. I'm going to get us a bungalow. We can spend the whole weekend together. And then boom, and then she posted me on her Instagram.
I saw that picture.
Yeah, and
It's
there
out
was
there,
like
people.
thousands of comments, and I got all these new followers, and I was like, whoa, this is great. And then, of course, psycho ex-boyfriend comes back in the mix and like threatens her and all this stuff like that. And then, I think she had to like block me or something. So whatever, Tiffany, you had your chance. It was real, and you blew it, baby girl.
We call it the tone of love. The tone of love.
I like that.
Love and key. Love and tone, yeah.
All right, listen.
And Flavor Flav was
talk about Flavor Flav.
I don't need to tell anybody that he's a great dude. I mean, Flavor Flav is just...
He's a legend.
A genuinely super friendly, awesome guy. Everybody knows that, He doesn't... You think he's playing a character, but nah, dude, that's him, man.
It's him.
It's just for the boys, yeah.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. Straight up.
All right, listen, I want to keep it going with the stories, because we're going to get into a lot here. One of the next stories I want you to tell, and I don't want to give away the name, but the people want to know the story when you were working on the Home and Garden Network, and there was an episode you were working on for somebody's stylist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, tell this story, please.
That's just
The
another,
Home and Garden Network.
celebrity name drop. We don't got to really brag too much about that, but I did work with Brad Pitt on that one, and I was as surprised as anybody. But it was one of those situations where they try to treat the situation like he was a god. So I was like,
he kind of is, right?
Yeah. But
I mean, come on.
I was like, I don't even care that I'm here right now because I'm not going to get to meet this guy. Like, it's just going to be
wait till you hear this.
A tease. And then, of course, this is the kind of magnetic energy I guess I put out. I'm just chilling there. And I look over and he's smoking a cigarette right next to me. So,
Dude,
I'm not going to
listen.
pass. I mean, it's not that great of a story.
Yeah, it is, bro.
I'm just like,
Dom's
yo,
excited,
Brad,
I'm excited,
nice to meet you. It was right before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out. So shook his hand, introduced myself, told him I was stoked to see the movie. I was like, yeah, I mean, dude, Tarantino can't miss. He was like, it works.
That's what he said.
Yeah,
that's what a man who's been married and had children with Angelina Jolie says.
Film.
It works.
Yeah. I was like, it should be. I'm like, I know it's gonna be great, and yeah, I think that's what he said. It works.
You like set the whole fucking scene, so
Yeah.
we didn't get that now, but it's okay. Listen.
Well, this is a hip hop podcast, and I will tell you that the biggest hero of mine in the hip hop world, aside from Ghostface Killer, we'll talk about that in a minute, who I met is Ice Cube.
Talk about it.
He
Talk about
is, can I just say my top 3 favorite rappers real fast?
Actually, that's a topic I got down.
Hold on,
so
I gotta
yes.
stop.
Go
Are
ahead.
we implying Brad Pitt is not for hip hop, dude? Like, is he anti hip hop or something?
Right,
Like,
that's a
Brad
good
Pitt's for
point,
the
dude.
culture, dude. Come on now. I'm just kidding.
That's actually a good question. I don't know how much he represents hip hop. It's a question for another day. But
No, it's I just want to say real quick, Tommy. It's funny that you said you want to talk about who your top 3 favorite rappers are, because that's a topic that I wanted you to talk about anyway. So let's get to it.
yeah, my top. Let's
just start there.
say
Let's not
top
get-
3.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I know who they are, but go ahead.
Well, number 3, Prodigy of Mobb
Rest
Deep.
in peace.
Yeah, he is just a beast, man. Like, he doesn't even need to be vicious to be a beast. His delivery is just so sinister. It's just like, man, and it's like when he died, it was devastating, and I feel like it was one of those things where you wanted to cry, but you're just like, you can't cry when Prodigy dies because that guy's got a heart of ice, man. Like, he was so hard, man. And then it also makes you question your own lyrical ability as an MC when you know he recorded Shook Ones at the age of 19.
Oh, dude,
and
legendary.
you're just like, okay, when I was 19, I was just rapping about my cock and fucking whatever else, But yeah.
Shit.
Right.
Drinking and going to classes I was failing.
Yeah, so Mobb Deep is one of the best units in hip hop history, and and those albums, I was obsessed with the infamous album. I feel like it was just so cinematic and just so raw, and Havoc's production was just incredible.
I just want to say sinister is a great word to describe that. That's a compliment. Like that's you can say like, oh, his lyrics are, graphic or this or that, but sinister is it's almost just like
Descriptive.
a classier evil,
Yeah,
it's just like
for
it's
sure.
it's more villainous than just overtly evil act, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that. So that's
And and I remember watching an interview with Havoc, and Havoc was talking about his style, and he was talking about how his style evolved, and he was said to Prodigy was just like, you know, I'm not even gonna really rap anymore. I just want to talk to these motherfuckers, you know, and that's kind of like, and even though I thought that I didn't think he fell off, but I thought that he wasn't really as lyrically crazy as he had started out as. It was only because his stuff takes a long time to digest sometimes. So some of his newer raps, like he doesn't even bother making sure it rhymes some of the time, but it still rhymes in its own way. And then you listen to it and you're just like, that gives me goosebumps, because like that is like some cold-blooded shit. And so Prodigy, one of the greatest of all time, definitely in my top 3. And let me just bring up another thing. When I say my top 3, I'm not talking about the best of all time. I'm talking about my favorites.
Yep.
Important distinction on the
Because
show.
after I say my top 3, I am going to say who's the best of all time, and it's not really even a debate, because a lot of dudes would agree with me. Anyways, let's
Number 2.
Number 2. Ice Cube, baby. I already
Let's go.
said it, right?
All right. So talk about when y'all met and the show and everything.
Yeah, actually, it's a funny story. Well,
This is
first,
dope.
I wanted to meet Ice Cube when I worked on Hip Hop Squares. Shout out to Shoshana Ryan, who got me the job on that gig. It was really fun. We just cruised around in golf carts and tried to intercept celebrities and interview them for VH1 after the episodes. And they were usually drunk because Ice Cube is a badass. He was the executive producer, so he had an open bar on set. And it's funny, too, because I was talking to all my peers, like my fellow crew members on set, and I was like, when you're on a set like this, you have to have a lighter on you at all times, because someone's going to approach you, and it's going to be someone important and cool, and you're going to want to have a lighter because they're going to want to smoke out heavy, right? And so I'm in the golf cart. I'm not even joking. Less than 5 minutes later, an Escalade rolls up, the window rolls down. Ice Cube's son, who
O'Shea Jackson Jr.
He was riding the high of Straight Outta Compton that had literally just came out like 2 or 3 months earlier. So he was like, you know, balling at that moment. He sticks his head out the window. He's like, "Yo, you got a light, brother?" And I checked my pockets, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?
I don't have a light."
I literally just got done talking about how you have to have a lighter, and I was like, "Yo, I apologize, man. I don't." He was like, "It's all good, man." He's like, "I saw you wearing a New York Yankees hat, so I figured you had to have one." And I was just like, that almost added insult to injury.
Yeah, that did not help matters at all.
And then this was a cool show, and so like later on, I witnessed a father-son moment between Ice Cube and his son, and me and some of the other crew were just watching it. It's all like we're watching an episode of like the Wonder Years or something like that. He's just like telling him he's proud of him and stuff like that. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, one of these days I'm going to meet Cube, but I'm not. The last thing I would ever do is try to like approach him after like he's talking to his family or something like that.
Yeah, respectable. Respectable.
So this was a cool show because it's like at any given day there would be like T.I. was there, Too Short. Biz Marquee was the DJ every single day. Rest in peace. I was bumping into him in the chow line on a daily. We had DeBrat, who I always thought she was
Shout
dope.
out to Surreal Life on VH1.
Yeah.
The only one that I made like a really conscious effort to make sure that I met and got like a photo was Khalees, because I had a huge crush on Khalees. And not just that, I love her music. I love her style.
Like her milkshake?
And you know, her milkshake does bring all the boys to the yard, myself included. And then, I mean, she was, married to Nas for a minute? They got a baby together. And I know that was a potentially dysfunctional relationship. But you got two brilliant artists like that. You can't expect things to be perfectly smooth all the time, right?
So,
You got a fact?
Nas, I got a fact. Nas and Khalees. Nas bought a house. He bought a separate house from their actual living house to have sex in so that the neighbors would not hear them copulating.
Really?
100%.
Wow.
They bought a sex house.
Damn.
Basically.
It's basically what that was.
Trying to have sex house money. You've heard of fuck you money? I'm trying to have sex house money. That's pretty impressive, dude.
Very.
That's dope. I would definitely think I would design my sex house like really fucking gangster, but I would like that shit on the beach with like the white drapes like floating in the window and the ocean breeze, you know.
You'd want it to turn into a freak palace at the touch of a button. You wouldn't want it to be overt. You know, it can't be dungeony. It's got to be like a nice, airy, kind of like boho beach house.
Okay.
And then you hit the downstairs and it's like, oh, What's this? It's a little Dan Bilzerian vibe down there. You know what I mean?
All right. So one more thing about Cube. I did finally get the chance to meet him a few years later. He released his album Everything's Corrupt, and one of my favorite places in LA is Amoeba Records in Hollywood, where I met David Lynch there for the first time. I've had a lot of great experiences there. It's just a really cool shop. So he was saying, like, he announced it on his Instagram. He's like, come down, buy my album, and then you get to meet me a few days later. And I never jumped in my car so quickly. And by the way, that's a good album too. Like, a lot of people aren't listening to new Ice Cube albums, but that was a dope one.
So what was it like when you
met
with him?
This was a great moment for me because I approached Ice Cube and I said, Cube, it's so good to finally meet you. And he looks at me and he goes, so good to finally meet you, bro. and I was and I was like taken back. I'm like, holy shit, he's been waiting for this moment as well.
His whole life, man.
You know, gives me a hug. I told him straight up, I said, hey, your first 4 albums, I got more education from those first 4 albums than I did every year of high school for my 4 years in high school, right? And he goes, God bless. And I said, God bless, brother. Yeah.
But you know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I'll tell you that.
Dude, I just remember when Tommy first met Cube, though, he tells me that, you know, he said, I'm excited to meet you. Cube said back, he goes, I was shocked that he said he was excited to meet me as I was.
That's amazing. Did you say, yeah, me too. That's what I would do if I was famous. Yeah,
Well,
I'm fired up to meet you too, bruv.
Here's another thing about Cube, which is pretty funny because I always knew that meeting him, I would be a little bit intimidated. I don't get, you know, ultra starstruck.
Hey, respectable.
But, you know,
intimidated.
but it was only because of one reason, because on his first album, America's Most Wanted, certified classic, he's got a song, or it's also on Kill It Will, the EP, but it's called Get Off My Dick and Tell Your Bitch to Come Here. And it's basically saying, I don't want people approaching me, fucking, you know, giving me props after a concert. He's like, if anything, just send your fucking chick over, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, but of course he recorded that when he was like 21 years old. He's a grown-ass man, and he was specifically there to meet fans, so of course he's not going to be like that. So,
right.
I mean, but it is what it is, dude. It's like, that's his persona, and he's a brilliant artist, and part of the reason he's so close to my number one is because not only is he a brilliant lyricist who is political and shines light on a lot of important issues, but he also wrote all of Eazy-E's best rhymes.
This is true.
And Eazy-E was, you know, like, I don't want to say necessarily a role model, but the dude was, when I first heard that Boys in the Hood tape, I was like, this guy, we want to be like this dude. Like, he is so fucking funny and cool and just gangster as hell, man. So when I found out Cube was the one writing that shit, I was just like, all right, man. And then that brings me, before I say my number one rapper, I'm going to say, and because before we did this podcast, I was like, I want to come equipped with like my top 10 favorite albums, my top 10 favorite MCs. That would be another
Appreciate that, by the way.
We could talk about
Shout out Within Range. People have been following.
Yeah. But I'm just going to straight up say this, and you're never going to guess this. My favorite rap hip hop album of all time is Ice Cube's The Predator.
Ooh, good one. Death Certificate is my personal favorite Cube album.
Yeah.
But Predator is close.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. There's a difference between favorites and best.
Correct.
Death Certificate is probably his best
Death
work
Certificate
because
is
it's
amazing.
just so powerful, and it's got the life side and death side, and has this whole iconic theme to it. But The Predator,
Black Korea,
has
dude.
its own.
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen, I know
that's
we
the other
do.
thing too about Ice Cube too.
Yeah.
He was able to be like super
White cave bitch.
racist, but in an important way. Like he even had a song where he called out the black community. So he called out everybody.
Yeah.
So he was ultra real. And he still is a real motherfucker. A lot of people give him a hard time because of his Disney affiliation or make. You're an actor, dude. Get over it. Same thing.
Let me say this. If anyone, and Jared, I know you got something to say too. If anyone is ever gonna question you going from being like a gangster hardcore rapper to doing Disney movies, to me that just shows the growth and then the money that's coming in behind
I was
that.
gonna say it's a financial level up. It's objectively, it's
Come
a
on,
level up. Yeah,
Easily.
undoubtedly.
So, getting to your number one, which I already know, but tell the people who your number one is.
Oh, well, without question, man, Ghostface Killer, because the man he's a poet. He's got so much soul.
Both hands crusty,
And
chilling
at
with
the
my
same
man
time,
Rusty.
his delivery is exactly what I look for with an MC, which is it's hardcore and it's harsh, but at the same time, he's got that soul. Weird comparison, but I'm almost thinking of like Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys, like just the way you spit, kind of like high pitched and like in your face and like a little bit obnoxious, but at the same time, just like very digestible and fucking ill.
I got a question. Roughly, how many times have you met Ghostface?
I want to say 6 probably, but I don't know for a fact. So it's like, I'm not a stalker, but it's like I've gone to see his shows many times, and then every now and then he'll do like an appearance at like a cannabis community or a cannabis what do you call them, dispensary in LA or something like that. So I met him a lot of times, but this is one of the most iconic moments in my life was when I finally got to perform on stage with him.
And there's video of this, people. If you go on Tommy's Instagram, this is there. So Tommy, please tell the story.
So it was crazy because I was working late that day. I knew there was a Ghostface Killer concert downtown LA. I didn't live there yet. Now I do, but it was kind of far out of the way. And I didn't have a ticket. So some random dude, wish I knew his name off the top of my head. He hits me up on Facebook or somewhere, and he says, I have 2 tickets. You can have them for free as long as you enjoy the show or whatever. And send me like $5 for some coffee because I'm broke. And I was just like, that's what he said.
$5 for coffee because you're broke, hey?
And
appreciate you, bro.
And he was a Chinese dude, which normally isn't relevant, but because Wu-Tang is of Chinese
affiliations.
Yeah, that kind of makes it a little more iconic, right? So I accepted the tickets, obviously. My on and off again girlfriend at the time said she wanted to go, so I met her down there. We were late. We go in, and it's super random. He was doing Killing Me Softly by the Fugees. He was just playing it, and he was just making people listen to it. He was just like, I love this shit. He was like, so much soul. He's like, yo. And then I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, he's not even trying to perform right this minute. He just wants to hear Killing Me Softly. And then he was doing Eye for an Eye off of Mobb Deep, which his original verse was actually stricken from that, but he was doing Raekwon's verse. What? And then, of course, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, we're going to do Protect Your Neck, which, of course, any Wu-Tang head knows that song start to finish. Yep. He's like, I'm going to need somebody to come up here and do Method Man's verse. I'm going to need someone to come up here and do Old Dirty Bastard's verse. So they get this black dude to go up for Method Man. Everybody's looking like they know this guy is too cool for school. He's obviously going to nail it. And then Killer Priest pulls me on. And I've met Priest a few times too. I don't know if he recognized me, but either way, like I was like me. I was like right here. Me. I go up there, and then it's funny because I met some people afterwards, and they were like, "We thought you were gonna choke. We didn't think you knew what you were doing." And I'm like, why would I be there if I didn't know what the hell I was doing? And I got sometimes when I rap or when I sing, my throat gets a little dry, so I wasn't drinking at the time. But my girl had a cup of ice from her drink. I said, give me the cup of ice so I can suck on a couple ice cubes before I spit the rhyme. So like my throat is nice and lubricated and I can really fucking let loose. So needless to say, sharing the stage with Ghostface Killer, rapping into the same microphone.
You killed it, bro.
And just getting that love and props. And then finally after the show, talking with him and knowing like, okay, he finally knows who I am. He finally recognizes me. I'm officially a member of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Let's go.
Got the hockey. You got the jersey to prove it, dude, on the team.
And the other thing that was cool about that is it wasn't so much performing. It was channeling the spirit of Old Dirty Bastard, who is another, honorable mention, one of my favorites of all time. Just a really fucking... what do you want to call him? Like a court jester, dude. The guy,
Killer.
All that guy has to do is like grumble and you're entertained. That guy is a
in
born
Hawaii, dude.
entertainer.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
lucky as hell because I saw the last ever Wu-Tang Clan performance in San Bernardino, California, where we had Old Dirty on stage and everybody. And that was, I don't know if you ever saw the documentary about that, but it was wild, man.
You showed me
It
the
was
doc on that one.
hectic.
Yeah.
I took some capsules, which were apparently a interesting combination of ecstasy and magical mushrooms.
Ooh, a
Let's
little
just
hippie
say.
flip, a little hippie
Yeah,
flip in a capsule.
I've never
Love
done
it.
anything like that since.
Not that I know anything about that.
Yeah. But there was one point where people thought they were going to die because it was inside of an airplane hangar. It was the middle of July, and it
Oh.
was so hot. And
Kinda
I
like-
remember, too, because the drugs were starting to kick in, and it started playing Grave Diggers.
Oh.
Constant Elevation. Grave Diggers. And,
Yeah.
and as that was playing, I was like, oh, my God, I'm really going to just die.
Some
while
99
Grave Diggers
Woodstock vibes in that hangar there.
Oh, and by the
Everything
way,
heating up.
I'm also making a list of songs to play at my funeral, and there's gonna be a couple Gravediggers tracks on there. So straight up, dude, because
Listen.
nothing's worse when you go to a funeral and they start playing like some whack ass like
Dust
Christian
in the
music.
wind.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not that song might actually.
You want some Kansas?
Yeah.
You trying to hear that? Because it's an
Not
old
at
school.
my
That's
funeral,
why.
but if someone plays that at theirs, I support that. But like, I'll give you an example, and this is another one of my homegirls who passed away recently. We went to her funeral, and everybody was talking about how much she loved TLC. All like every time someone came up and talked about her, they would. And then I'm thinking to myself, and then they played this corny music. I'm like, play TLC.
I got
Chase
you.
the
It's-
waterfalls.
she loved it.
Chase them.
She was
Listen.
also a punk rocker. Play some punk rock.
I just gotta say this.
Jamie
this,
Whitsick, rest in peace.
Rest in
Love-
peace.
We
This is
share
a-
a birthday with her. So yeah.
this is a within range first. The first time anyone's ever said that they are currently making a playlist for their funeral coming up. All right, I just gotta say that's a.
It was not coming up.
Well, no. I mean, correct. It's not coming up, but whenever it happens, Tommy will be ready. So, Tangel, before we take a little hiatus here, one story that I want you to tell. It's one of my favorite stories. Is the DMX story. You know which one I'm talking about, right? The music video shoot with.
I wasn't there.
I know.
though.
I know you weren't there. Okay, I already know that. But you have a connection with that story, and I need you to tell the people this story.
All right. Well, so, you know, you made a lot of people on set. I think I met this dude in Arizona, but they had shot a DMX, and I finally saw the video like many years later. It was a song with DMX and Busy Bone. Great combination, by the way, but a very interesting song. So I guess DMX rolls up with like a squad of like 100 people or some ridiculous amount of people, probably like a bunch of dogs too. And you know,
All-time
X,
quote
man,
from
he's a very passionate dude, and that's why I
Rest
think,
in peace to the dog, man.
yeah, rest in peace to the
Yeah.
dog, man. We love DMX over
He
here.
goes, people, why did you fight dogs? I fuck with dogs because they're real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
the man is part man, part pit bull for sure. And Dominic actually got to meet him in real life. I never got to
did.
meet him. I knew
I
he was
did.
out here doing his thing.
Yep.
A couple of my homies like partied with him, and I was like, one of these days I'll bump into him, but never happened, unfortunately. I guess maybe if it would have been locked up a little more often.
And
I
I've seen
probably
him
would've
twice in concert. I've seen him twice live.
But yeah, it basically, he stopped everything to say like a massive prayer. And he's just like, yo, God. And, you know, he's drinking Hennessy. He's like, give me my Henny. And he's just like looking up in the sky. And he's just like, we just a bunch of dumb motherfuckers down here, God. We stupid as hell. And he's just like yelling at God, like basically like surrendering, like talking about like, we ain't shit.
Testifying,
like, we
dude, just
need
testifying.
you. I mean, that's the thing about X, man. Like, he is this brutal dude who could probably scare the shit out of anyone or beat your ass or whatever, but he's so real and so passionate
Yes.
and so spiritual. And that's what I loved about the guy, man. So,
Yeah.
He goes going from prayer to Chandra, Janisha.
Yes.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
three
What they
kids.
just want from it. Listen,
that's
there's-
part of the torment, bro.
Yeah.
That's why I want him to be like one of the faces of City of Demons, man, because it's like, that's what City of Demons is all about. It's like we live, you know, we have no choice but to coexist with our demons. So it's like we shouldn't be ashamed of them. We're not going to let them win. We're going to walk a righteous path. But at the same time, they're there. You know, a lot of people, they spend their whole lives trying to pretend like they don't have demons and shit. And it's kind of pathetic to watch them, you know, try to sweep everything under the rug and shit like that. So it's like, that's the kind of the vibe I'm going for with the theme for City of Demons and shit like that. It's like we're not gonna pretend like we don't live in a very violent world, in a very sexual world. And then that's a great what these bitches want from us. Yeah, that's a very good example of just, the torment. It's like, because, the primitive man just wants to slay and just, be out there like that. And, but then DMX got to come home to wifey and deal with the consequences and all that.
I blaze you blaze me.
Yeah,
I blaze you. That's interesting though. I didn't know that was the concept for it. I mean, obviously, like you hear City of Demons, and it's based in LA. You can kind of see where that comes from, but it almost seems like you're leaning into it and embracing it fully, and it's like you are, but still from a different perspective there of like, no, it's not positive. Like I'm not saying that it's like I'm embracing that it's a City of Demons and we just like lean into that and that's how we do it. But it's like we can't deny that it's there.
Yeah, and it is the City of Demons.
Yeah.
So now I've been living in downtown LA for over a year. I live in Little Tokyo, which is a pretty nice neighborhood, but I'm right next to Skid Row. And then I work, in the garment district. So every single day I'll see some shocking shit, Sometimes it's fascinating, sometimes it's depressing, but it's always going to be demonic, man. Like, it is the city of fucking demons. But there's angels around too, man. Where there's demons, there's angels, and you just got to find that balance. And, I've dealt with a lot of my own spiritual warfare and all that shit. So I'm not like some dude who's going to, let the evil ever win. But at the same time, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And that goes back to DMX's whole delivery. It's like, he'll say a prayer at the end of the album, but then he's got songs like Damien where he's just like going hard in the yard, dude.
Yeah.
And you got motherfuckers like, or off topic, I guess, but I was just thinking of the Ready to Die album. It's kind of like all of, but Biggie didn't really, Biggie didn't really have a prayer at the end, man.
No, he didn't. And listen, like, one thing I think that attracted, Tommy and I together was the music. And then, second half, we're going to get into the movies and stuff. But I just want to say, like, I thought I knew a lot about hip hop, Jared. Like, growing up, like, my older cousins always said I knew more about hip hop than them. I was on Biggie. I knew about Nas and DMX. And then I met Tommy, and Tommy took me deeper into Wu-Tang. He took me deeper into Mobb Deep, Onyx, some of these other artists and groups that I didn't know about. And that's one thing that, one reason we wanted Tommy on here, he said we're a hip hop podcast, which we are to a point, but at the same time, we're just a podcast where we want to highlight and bring people on that are authentic, like we talk about, and are influential and are inspirational. And Tommy, I think, is a definition of that because he's got so much going on, and we're going to get into his clothing brand and what he's doing more in Hollywood. But, this man's knowledge on the game, and I mean, you could already hear the stories, the interactions he's had. I mean, it's amazing, just hearing this stuff from you, man. And this is why we wanted you on, bro, because this shit's motivational to me, man. I love hearing this type of shit, Jared. I
never smoked a cig next to Brad Pitt or been next to him when he smoked.
I mean, come on now.
No, that's crazy, man. I mean, the depth already, just getting on, sharing a stage with Ghostface Killah, your own clothing line, working on set. Like Dom said, moving from New Jersey to LA, just up and doing it. You said it's easy. Yeah. I think plenty of people would disagree, but I like the sentiment behind what you're getting at there. Yeah. So yeah, man.
You meet people throughout your life that you just know are gonna be your friends, your brothers forever, and Dominic is one of those dudes. And it's funny too, because I remember even like when I first moved to LA and I had a spot in Burbank, and I was like, "Yo, my friend's coming out to visit," and everyone got all sketched out. They thought I was going to bring some like lunatic out there or whatever, because I got a history of having very outgoing friends. And a lot of the time that means dangerous people. But Dominic, he showed up and everyone was like, "Dude, why don't you tell me your homie was so cool?" I'm like, "What do you expect?" Of course he's cool. I'm not going to let someone spend the night over here if they're not cool. And then
Dom's
I started thinking about some of the creeps
right.
I used to let spend the night. And I'm like, "Oh, maybe I got a good point."
Man, all right, Tommy, real quick before we get into halftime, let's talk about the Capadonna show you and I went to. Let me just start by saying this, okay? The Red Owl is no longer there. You remember the Red Owl,
100%.
Jared, right in Tempe.
What about Club Red? Because they're attached to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Is Club Red still there? I don't think even that's there.
I have no idea what's still there.
Two clubs attached to each other, right?
Yeah, they were like right next to each other. I had went to see another concert there, right? With you, I think, Tommy.
Futuristic.
Yeah, correct. Shout out to Futuristic. We hope to get him on the pod.
I'm in one of his music videos.
Yes.
It was super fun.
We hope to get him on. We were at that show, and while we're at the show, like they have a display of like who's coming up next. And we see that Capadonna, who's the unofficial like 10th member of Wu-Tang, coming. So we're like, dude, we gotta go. So me and Tommy show up to this concert, bro. There was maybe 20 people in the building, and 15 of them were in the back. And me and Tommy were 2 of the 5 that were up close, like while he was rapping.
That's
and
awesome.
dude, it was one of the best concerts I think
That
I've ever
sounds
been
amazing.
to, man.
Yeah.
I still remember that shit.
I don't know if there's a way to like show pictures on here, but we got so many great pictures with Capadonna that night.
A lot of them.
And I'd never seen somebody so humble and so friendly, because it's like he knew that it wasn't a big crowd, but he didn't care. He was so happy to perform, and every time I've seen him, he's been that happy. That guy carries a ton of positive energy with him, and it's something to admire because he's fucking cool, man. And
One of the highlights from that show, I just got to say, is like he finished the song and he was like kind of facing the back, and Tommy goes, "Yeah, Cappuccino the Great," and he just goes, "Yeah, Cappuccino the Great." It was awesome.
Fuck, that's awesome. If you think we're gonna skip over you being in Futuristic's music video as an Arizona hip hop podcast, you're crazy. So tell us that story.
Oh, well, me and Futuristic, this was before Future even came out. Remember Future? Molly Percocet.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Oh,
we're
we're
big
familiar.
Future fans over here, dude.
Yeah,
Pluto
I
Hendrix.
don't mind Future, but I'm just like, man, like, Futuristic is so much more skilled. Anyways.
I'm not going to deny that, but tread lightly with the Future slander on this
I'm not
podcast. There's
I'm
few
not
that you could get away
slandering.
with.
So anyways, I think Futuristic is doing stuff with the Suns now. He's established himself in Arizona.
Yep.
Good for him. Before that, he took over the whole Midwest. He's got mad songs with Tech Nine. I'm not trying to make this a Futuristic commercial. I just thought he was a cool ass dude. So I worked with him making cheese steaks at a place called Capriati's, and
On Middle Avenue.
Honestly, I wanted to do a song with him, but and I wanted to make a music video where we were like making cheesesteaks and rapping at the same time. But I think he was a little too professional, and I was a little too underground at the time. But yeah, he did a video for a song called Reviews, and it never got as many views as it should on YouTube. And I think it's because the song is called Reviews, and it sounds like it's gonna be reviews. You know what I mean? But it's a dope video. It's probably one of the most offensive music videos he has, because there's guns and there's violence and stuff like that. So
It's got you in it? No.
and I'm in it, and I recommend you guys check it out. I was also in a music video done by my homie Joey Nugent, who's extremely. Rocky talked about this guy.
Yep.
For a guy named Dirtball, who's a member of the Cottonmouth Kings. So I'm in that video too, which is entirely claymation, with the exception of me and my friend Krista, who you also know.
Yeah.
We were in it for a little bit, and I didn't understand why he wanted to put me in the video. To this day, I still don't understand. I'm like, I didn't even have, my hair wasn't even cool at the time. I had like very short hair. I looked like a very basic dude. I was like, cool, whatever. I'll be in the video, you know. But that's another one. It's called I Smell Hell by Dirtball. And that video is he took like 2.5 years to make it, because it was all stop motion animation. Crazy. Yeah, did you ever see that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, check that out too, because that's ill.
I fuck with Cottonmouth Kings, though. Don't
Yeah.
make me beg.
Yeah, well,
all time track, dude.
Shout out to my homie Jonas. I hope he's listening, because he used to smoke out so heavily. He got on the Cottonmouth Kings tour bus and smoked them out until they tapped out.
Wait.
The
The
Cottonmouth Kings?
Yeah. He said he would always have like maybe like a QP of like this insanely good bud, especially in Arizona back in the day. It was
That's
like,
a serious felony. Yeah.
well, not anymore, right?
Not anymore,
No,
but
back in the day, it was any amount.
would have been.
Maybe I shouldn't be talking about
No. Listen, it's all right. We're good.
Statute of limitations over. Dude, a QP though, running around. So he was the kid with the backpack at the function.
His name's not Jonas, it's J Fade.
It's Joe Jonas.
Anyways, Jonas, we love you, dude. You showed up with 20 pounds of super illegal weed at the Cottonmouth Kings concert, and you smoked them out until they couldn't.
They could handle it, dude.
That's like Snoop Dogg saying Willie Nelson.
Pakalika was crawling out of the bus with his tail between his legs, begging for mercy.
It's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an achievement.
Of all the people I know who smoke out heavy, dude, it was fucking Jonas and his cousin Dan. Rest in peace. Another motherfucker that we lost. I mean, dude, it's like, let's just be grateful for life.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm grateful to be alive after this
absolutely, man.
episode right now. Damn.
Should be.
Yeah. I mean, this is one thing I try to tell everybody. And I would love to tell it to my younger self. It's gratitude is such an important thing to exercise on a daily basis. I've been a very impatient person. I've been like a very angry person for a huge percentage of my life. And I wasted a lot of years being that, high strung, pissed off person. And I'm like, wait a minute, looking back on my life has been so fucking incredible. What the hell's my problem? You know what I mean? So once you finally start to exercise gratitude on a constant basis, then life just opens up more doors to you. And it's beautiful to be alive. And that's one thing that I want everyone to, like, I don't give a shit if you got a gun in your mouth right now. Like, don't be ignorant. You can find something that you love, and you can find experiences that are going to fucking make you love your life. And I don't want to be like, what's the word? Insensitive to like mental health. I'm just being realistic, man. When you think about all the possibilities of devastation, and then you think about all the possibilities of bliss, like, without the negative, the positive wouldn't exist, and vice versa. So you need to fucking figure that shit out. It's not that difficult when you think about, science, I guess.
I mean, it's not even about shaming anyone or anything like that. It's just, no matter what you're going through, no matter how understandable it might be to feel that way, it isn't the answer. Seeing the impacts of that on people in my personal life, and it's huge. So yeah, it's not the answer. It's not a judgment thing. It's not the answer. So love it.
All right, so Tommy, definitely want to get into City of Demons. Just, from when you started it, obviously I knew the juxtaposition with, City of Angels, City of Demons, but talk to us about how you got into this and how it became a brand for you.
All right, straight up, I'm going to be real as hell. The original thing that got me mad stoked about making these shirts was a brand called Serial Killer Incorporated. They made shirts back in the late 90s, early 2000s that I was obsessed with as a young teen. They sold them at trails and all those smoke shops, and they also sold them on the streets of New York City.
Remember trails?
And then a few years later, they just completely disappeared. Now you can find them on eBay for like $100 fucking plus each because they're like relics. So one day I was like, whatever happened to the Serial Killer shirts? And finally some chick at a smoke shop was like, oh, the dude died, and they stopped making them. And so that was kind of what I wanted to do. I was like, those shirts were so dope, and all they were was very simple images from gangster flicks, horror flicks, anything, like old 80s TV shows, just funny shit with a little bit of a, some slang on top of them or something to make them pop. I thought it was genius. And so that's what I wanted to bring it back to. I was going to use familiarity, and parody to draw attention to the brand. And now that I got your attention, I'm going to do a lot more original stuff. I want to make it clear right now that anything that might be perceived as unoriginal, I'm not selling my clothing. I'm giving it away for free with a donation.
Yo, you see us
and everything is cool under parody. So it is what it do.
Yeah.
Anyways, long story motherfucking short, dude. Here's some of the gear.
You see it around.
Here's some fucking ridiculous shit. Yo, Guido Apocalypse now. And my homie just told me earlier that it would be hilarious if on the back it said, I love the smell of hair gel in the morning. This is the only one in existence, but homegirl was mad stoked on this one earlier.
The Goonies.
Yeah, dude.
War hag, dude.
Sick, dude.
Shout out to my homegirl Victoria who told me the term war hag, and then that's what made me want to do this shirt. Because I was like, man, who is the most rugged fucking war hag I know? Mama Fratelli from the Goonies, baby. So, you know,
Mama Fratelli.
Anybody who's a cinemaphile, it just sounds weird saying file. Cinemaphile is obviously going to be a mega fan of the Terminator.
Is that a hoodie?
This is some T2 gear. Okay.
Yeah, T2 gear. I even threw a little GNR logo in there.
What are those running right
now?
now?
Could be mine.
What are those running the good people in the streets if they want that?
$40 donation for that, John.
Nice.
And in case you don't know the word John, that's where Philly people call anything and everything.
Hold up.
I think I got a live $40 donation.
First, within range, live transaction,
tonight.
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no Quest Most Deaf?
I'm trying to walk out
let's
here
go.
tonight with my Terminator hoodie. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be
Let's go. Ladies and
Pay your
gentlemen,
people.
Drew's going to give the
This
round
is
of
one.
applause for that one.
Wow.
Look at that.
Look at
That's
that.
cheddar.
Live on the app.
And straight up, and a lot of this money
Guns N' Roses logo.
literally goes
Yes.
back to the people of Skid Row. And I ain't even bullshitting because I give
That's
to the
dope,
people of
Jared.
Skid Row on a daily. And I'm not saying that to brag because I'm not some charitable person. I'm just saying that because I coexist with them. This is the city of demons. It's all about coexisting with your environment. And yeah, the people of Skid Row are the representatives for the city of motherfucking demons. So don't worry, that cash is going back into the streets because the streets is a fucking industry.
Yeah, let's go.
And what else we got here? We got.
I'm waiting for it to get behind us, so go ahead and continue with what you got.
Straight up, we're just gonna give a couple more. A little Hellraiser, West Side Slaughterhouse. A lot of this shit is inside shit. If you're a hip hop head from fucking West Coast, you already know. West Side Connection made an ill ass track called West Side Slaughterhouse, where they basically take out the whole Midwest. No offense, but it was a savage track on the Mac 10 album. And I was like, man, that track is so savage that I'm gonna straight up fucking compare that shit to the Cenobites from Hellraiser, baby.
Let's go.
That's how hardcore it was. Yo, a lot of y'all
favorite, my
motherfuckers,
personal favorite.
if you're a fan of super fucking beautiful gangster ass cinematography, then you must know Hype Williams is the best music video director in the entire hip hop genre for the fucking 1990 to 2010.
Let me just say,
fucking time
what stood
period
out to me is not only the belly emblem, but you also got the Wu-Tang affiliation in there.
Oh,
Come
no
on
Quest
now.
Most Def, baby boy. You already know the question.
Even Travis Scott was shouting out Hype Williams. He goes, "I'm gonna call up Hype Williams for
Yes,
the hype, please."
you're right,
he's
dude.
still shouting my.
I have yet to meet someone who wants to wear this shirt in public because it is a little brutal and it ain't even about the anti-swastika sentiment. It's about the fucking just the fact that homeboy got murked severely hard in the boys' room.
Oh,
You heard about smoking in the boys' room. This brings a whole new fucking light to that. You know what I'm saying?
damn.
Homeboy got smoked in the boys' room, and that's what you get for rocking a fucking skinhead. Sorry, not sorry, motherfucker.
All right. And then, Tommy, tell us about this one, bro.
got my girl Shakira.
I'll just be real. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Shakira is the most beautiful woman in the world, and then everybody likes Rihanna. So,
Dude, you know I don't know. Shakira that's my muse. That's the lady. That's the
That's
one.
the dream.
That's the dream, dude.
she's
So,
a dream girl. She probably ruined our lives in many ways, but we would still smile at the end of the day.
I just want to say, I'm pretty sure she is getting divorced right now. If it's not official yet.
Oh my God. Okay, so-
I'm saying you're in the race, dude. You're in the race.
Shakira.
I'm spoken for.
This is
but-
strictly a professional proposition. I love you. And check it out. So this is one of the weirdest things that happened tonight. I rolled up to the party with this in my pocket.
What is it, Tommy?
It's
Tell
a
the people.
Game Boy video game. It was just randomly in my pocket. And it's Bart Simpson versus the Juggernauts, which brings me to my next product. I think this is pretty badass, right? Like
The army, the camo.
So it's like if you like Rambo and if you like The Simpsons, then you would definitely rock that. And if you worked for The Simpsons, you would probably try to sue somebody for selling it. That's why it's free with a donation.
I just want to say, as a Rambo fan, I respect that you chose First Blood because I think most of the Rambo, stereotypical Rambo scenes or like famous Rambo stuff is from Second Blood and on. But
That's a good point.
First Blood is
They call it Second Blood?
there's Rambo. I think
I thought it was
I'm
just
pretty
called
sure,
Rambo,
Second Blood.
too.
No, Second Blood.
I think it was Second Blood.
think
I'm
so.
pretty sure. Is it? It might just
I
be
could be
Rambo
wrong.
too. No, it might just be Rambo too. But First Blood, either way.
It just sounds mad cheesy.
Yeah,
Second
yeah.
Blood.
We need to, Jamie, pull that up.
Jay, pull that up.
But yeah, I just love that you pulled that one because
In
like
spirit, summon Second Blood on the Ouija board.
And then what? Last but not least, what?
Oh, yeah, this one's
here?
ill.
What do we got here?
Okay, so this is actually what started me in the little bootleg game in the first place. All right, well, long story short, so you got the fucking Erzuli, which is the voodoo god who kind of fucking looks over us. She's a priestess and she's ill. And then we got homegirl Riri, who doesn't need any fucking
No
more
explanation.
support. She's Gucci.
Shout out ASAP
And then,
Rocky.
if you're hardcore and you're into fucking metal, then you love Motorhead. And we love Motorhead, and that's a fucking sick-ass logo. Which brings me to Cadaver Dogs, right?
Let's go. Let's
So,
talk about it.
anyways, it's pretty fucking crazy, but I do have a band. They're called Cadaver Dogs, and we're going to finally play our first concert in a small town called Sonora, not Mexico.
I was gonna say, dude.
I thought so too. I was like, oh shit, get my passport ready.
Sonora's technically safe.
Sonora, California, which is up over somewhere by the bay at a
Oh,
bar.
Snor-
Wait,
NorCal?
actually in
Yeah.
Sonora?
Jared's
yeah,
from
I know
NorCal.
Sonora.
Oh, so he knows.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, it's in
yeah,
North
you
Cal.
can tell
Yeah.
your friends then.
Yeah. You're going playing Sonora?
Yeah, at a place called the Water Wheel.
Oh, I can't
But
say
you
I know
know
downtown
Sonora.
Sonora. My dad,
So you
my
don't
dad
hang
actually
out
worked
at
up there. I
dive
went up there
bars
for
in
the weekend with
Sonora.
him. Yeah.
So you know Sonora, but you don't hang out at dive bars at Sonora.
Listen, he's been in Arizona. a
I've
while.
been. I was gonna say there's plenty of towns I
You
don't
were
know.
too
I
young.
don't know the dive bar scene.
I don't know. Maybe it's not even a dive. I don't know. They say it's one of the only bars in this one horse town.
I was gonna
So-
say I was like Sonora's not huge, so
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it actually.
I played mini golf there.
What's the date?
It kind of downplayed this trip because I'm like, this is like 400 miles is no big deal. Like now we're gonna all of a sudden gonna do like 600 miles just to play a show, and I'm like, but that's the entire like, that's what makes being a band. That's part of
Yep.
the story and shit
Yep.
like that. And this is another like obviously one of my lifelong dream is to just make feature films. Why I haven't done it yet? Sorry, I'm working on it. But in the meantime, my other lifelong dream is to have a badass hardcore band. So thankfully, I have a hardcore band, and I'm gonna fucking we're gonna do some shows. We're gonna be, we're gonna be up there with the merch, and it's gonna be a punk rock event. So I'm stoked for it, and our drummer is the shit. My guitarist is badass. They're gonna make me look good, and
How did
I
this
really
band-
hope I don't make them look bad. That's all I gotta say about that.
How did this band form? How do you know these guys?
Oh, actually, that's a really good question. So, thank you for asking that. My homie, his name is Tony Joe. Tony Joe Zayas. He's a Puerto Rican dude, fucking badass, fucking artist from LA. I think he was from LA originally, but either way, I met him on a magic show, and we immediately clicked. And he
That's
calls
awesome.
himself the Relic.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, he calls himself the Relic with a fucking K.
Which is
Oh,
the
wow.
And then
Tangelic
I'm
Relic.
the Tangelic Relic. And I'm like, holy shit, we're both the relics and shit like that. That's why that word fucking means a lot to me because it's a representation of fossilizing authenticity.
Fossilizing.
Fossilizing
Statue of Fossil
authenticity.
Watch.
With the exception, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you guys are both wearing wristwatches because you believe in
See the Michael Kors. You see,
relics and shit. I don't rock wristwatches because I find them uncomfortable. But I am a living motherfucking relic, and that is part of like this whole steez is like we are relics. And when I came up with the name Cadaver Dogs, actually I was watching Forensic Files. And they kept saying in the background, or no, it said only. I'd never heard it before. It was like, oh, they sent out the cadaver dogs to look for the corpse, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a sick motherfucking name for a band.
Cadaver Dogs.
And then I was like,
hardcore band.
I was like, if they drop that one more time, I'm gonna straight up name my band Cadaver Dogs. And then they were like, and then the Cadaver Dogs were on the prowl, and I was like, sold.
Game on.
Yeah. So wait, so.
Just hardcore.
Explain your band. So you guys like a metal punk, or are we? What do we?
To simplify it, it would be hardcore punk thrash. So and for any of y'all who listen to that type of music, I would compare us to a band called I Hate God. That's EYEHAATEGOD.
Ironically, a gospel group.
No, well, that is. It's funny that you mentioned that because they are from Louisiana and they grew up in the Bible Belt. So, but it's also it's EYE. So there is a very deep explanation for that, the name of the band. And I'm just a big fan of groove metal. I also like hardcore thrash metal. Like I like grindcore. I like hardcore. I like punk rock, and I've always associated with that. But I want to use that to plant a seed and to obviously create an ocean of more music, because I think that's the foundation for me. And that's another thing I wanted to say to you, Dominic, when you were talking about your top 10 favorite albums. You talked about Beastie Boys' License to Ill being one of your favorites. And I love the fact that you referenced that. But at the same time, I was like, holy shit, has he ever really listened to Beastie Boys' Ill Communication from start to finish?
So I'll answer that. Yes, I have. And those later albums are good because I know that they use live instrumentation. I know that they started to kind of divert from the License to Ill album, but that License to Ill album is just so classic to me. But I know where you're going.
Yeah,
with that.
it's like
you're going
a party
with that.
banger album, but it also has like the laid back fucking tracks for cruising and shit like that. But
Yeah.
It's like Ill Communication for me is definitely in my top 10 hip hop albums. But the part that's different about that is that it's not necessarily a hip hop album.
Correct.
It's like it's a perfect ocean of every genre that I love.
Yeah.
It's got hardcore, it's got punk rock, it's got psychedelic like instrumentals that are very like
They went like experimental with that album.
Super
kinda.
experimental.
Yeah.
And then it'll take you right back to that raw, organic New York hip hop, and then all of a sudden you're just like, damn, like these guys know what the fuck they're doing. Like this is as real as it gets. And that's why shout out to the motherfucking Beastie Boys, because they are a huge foundation for hip hop. And I mean, even in motherfucking Boys in the Hood, beer drinking, breath stinking, sniffing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. Beastie is the shit. Fucking NYC is like, it's crazy, man. When you compare the East Coast to the West Coast, they're both so powerful in the come up of hip hop.
Correct.
You know, so it's really hard to say who's king. And it's like, why even fight for the crown? You know what I mean? But
New
that's
York,
the thing. Hip hop has always been competitive. You know?
Yeah, correct. And obviously, a lot of hip hop would claim that, you know, it was started in New York, so I could see that, obviously. But
I think that's fact. I would say
it is. But the
fact.
West Coast is prevalent, man. I mean, you look at NWA, you look at you know the Bay, 240 E Short, you know, or E
E Short,
Too Short E40. Listen, I had a little too many of these. All right, it's been a something. But Tommy, listen,
Don't
man.
get him started about 4-Pac.
Yeah, we don't want to go there. Listen, man.
We gotta talk about Caligula, though.
That's the next thing. So Caligula, someone may know who that is or what that is, but you got a lot of nicknames, bro. Okay, how did Caligula come up in association with
Caligula was one of those experimental theme type projects, you know what I mean? So I came out the gate where I think it was back when, you know, Netflix was first this thing, and they had the Penthouse produced film Caligula, which was back when Penthouse tried to be a production company. And
Peter,
they made one big, and it had Malcolm McDowell from
Malcolm McDowell. That's who I'm thinking of.
And I had obviously him do the intro for the album. It's like, though I am Caligula, I am a man. No, he didn't come to the studio to record it. I stole the sample, blah, blah, blah. Anyway. But no, that was the best part of the movie, that sample. But hilarious. I mean, no one's ever seen the whole movie because it's so terrible. You'll never watch it.
But there's that scene, though.
I mean,
Jared,
you watch it to a certain point, then you might be done with it. But
okay, this is the type of guy who would watch the whole movie. But
not me. Never seen the whole movie. Definitely know.
But after that scene, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You know what scene I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
The scene with the
orgy.
pool, right? Yeah,
Well,
they're like all in the water and they're.
I don't watch Caligula, dude. That movie is for creeps and porno, smutty freaks, fanatics. No, I'm kidding. I actually never did see the whole film, but I was taken back by the monologue by Malcolm McDowell in the beginning. And I was kind of thinking that, it'd be interesting to do a... so what I did in Tempe, and thanks to my brother Rockalangelo, a.k.a. Rock Relic, another relic, another bad motherfucker, dude.
Relics, like it's sounding like they could be collected into rings almost.
Oh yeah. We are the Relic Nation, dude. Like, so, anyways, Rocky is a bad motherfucker. I love that dude. He's so cool. I wish he was here so he could just like chime in. But I that was my obviously listening to that podcast was mad enjoyable for me.
Shout out to Rock Replay.
Yeah, Rock Replay. We love you, dude.
Huge up.
So, anyways, I decided that I was gonna make an EP called Rise of Caligula, and it was only like 4 or 5 songs, and it was all just based off of that. It was after Sanctified, and it was living in at that Huntington estate on Priest and Huntington. Yeah. So that was a nice little fun house living with the goat and Sam Carrerioli. I might be seeing you on Friday. His parents actually invited me to dinner. That's such a blessing, and I hope I can make that dinner. So, anyways, I decided that I would do the Rise of Caligula. And then when I moved to LA, I decided it was time to kill Caligula. So we would do the fall of Caligula, right? And
Caligula.
You are clever one.
I like that.
Yeah. So we killed him off, and it was a rise and the fall. It was one of those things where it's like when you're recording it, you're like, oh man, I think I just made something that's like really prolific. Like like the people are gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, oh my god, he struck a nerve. Nah, not exactly. It was fun though. It was mad fun, but I think my favorite hip hop that I ever recorded, well, I loved doing that verse on the Rock and Dom album, but my most realist verses were when I was homeless in Philadelphia because I was hurting so hard, I was going off, and it was mostly freestyle. But I was with my boy fucking, what does he call himself now? Bloodshed Red, aka Big Red. He loves the color red almost as much as I do, possibly more than I do. He's a dope dude.
There's a song that you made, okay, back in the day that I happened to be part of. Well, I wasn't involved, but I was there during the making of it. And it's about a specific establishment in Tempe, Arizona, okay? It's called Yucca Tap Room. And you made a song called Too Rugged for Yucky, okay?
Thanks for bringing that up.
about it.
That's pretty hilarious, actually, because it's like...
This is great. Sam Carrera will know what I'm talking about.
It's actually mad funny. The reason I got kicked out of there was because I kissed my own friend on the cheek, who was a dude, by the way.
Okay, a little sus, but all right.
Well, I mean, are we talking how inclusive is the Yucca Tap Room at this point?
But it was just, I've been having this problem throughout my life. You know what I mean? Like, I get in a great mood, and then like authority decides to step in and ruin my life. In this case, it wasn't my life. It was just a shitty ass dive bar. So I decided to make it a vendetta. And I was like, you guys want to kick me out of the bar for nothing? I'm going to keep coming back just because I got nothing fucking better to do. I thought it was hilarious.
I would hope in like a slightly different disguise each time, like the Groucho Marx.
That is so funny that you mentioned that because I did go back with a haircut.
Get out of here.
And I got into a physical fight with the fucking security guard. And during the fight, he was like, nice haircut. And I was like, yeah, you too. Because we both had haircuts.
But he 100% knew it was you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty identifiable, and that's why I've been known to get kicked off airplanes and all kinds. Because all I got to do,
Airplane.
yeah, dude. I've been 86 from a lot of shit, dude, and I'm starting to hurt my fucking feelings, dude. Like I don't.
TSA
like
had to step in. Or what?
TSA.
No,
Always
this was a
fucks
stewardess.
me.
This is even
Every
more
time I
serious.
fly, they're like, we found a bunch of explosive residue on your luggage, and I'm like, what are you trying to say? Like, I live in a bomb factory, and
They're like, he said it. Get him.
yeah, no, that's how it is. That's how it is. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in Texas. The flight was delayed by like 5 hours. We finally got on a flight, and somebody in line was like, about fucking time. And I looked over and I was like, yeah, well, it's probably gonna fucking explode anyways. And
Oh.
dumb joke, insensitive, super not cool.
Yeah.
But did they have to kick me out and fucking? They kicked me off the plane as
Kind
if
of,
I was a
dude.
fucking terrorist,
Listen,
dude.
Have you read The Patriot? No, I'm just kidding.
I've read a lot of things since then,
No,
and
I'm just
I've cleaned up my act. But here's the thing: apparently, I'm fucking like Roger Rabbit. I walk around looking like a motherfucking animated cartoon character or something like that. I'm a little fucking like the way I walk is funny. Like, yeah, people give me a hard time. Like,
All right, so back to Yucca Tap Room. Before we move on to the next topic here, because I got a little bit more before we finish. Give us the Too Rugged for Yucky like chorus. You know what I'm talking about, Tommy.
oh, dude, come on.
Come on.
It's I'm too rugged for yucky. I'm just too motherfucking rugged for yucky. Yeah. I'm too rugged for yuck. I'm just too motherfucking rugged for yuck. Yeah.
It sounds like a little Public Enemy Anthrax.
Let me just say
Yeah.
this, okay? Tommy called me. He was like, hey, come over. Like, we're going to be hanging out at the crib in Huntington, like he was talking about. I show up, okay? I walk in the door. Tommy's in the back room. Rock Replay is recording. Tommy's got like chairs stacked on top of each other, and the microphone is on top of the chairs, and he just goes, I'm just too motherfucking rugged for you. I'm just too much. And I'm, dude, one of the funniest things I've ever walked into in my life, dude. He recorded this song, and I was like, what are you talking about? And then he explains that he got kicked out of the bar,
Too
and then he
rugged
was
for
making a
yuck,
diss
dude.
song on the bar that he
That's
got
sick.
kicked out of, dude. It was legendary. I just had to
It's amazing.
Walk in the bar like, what the fuck's up, you dumb sluts, you cunt rags. Yeah, I said a lot of really terrible stuff in that song. Yeah, a lot of things that wouldn't fly in 2022.
Yeah.
Unless you're Australian.
But, it's all part of history.
If you're Australian.
And shout out to Carrerioli,
Yeah.
Sam Carrera, who
Ravioli.
he made a short film
Carreriola?
about my life at the time called, I don't know if it was called Caligula.
It's a great, I've watched it multiple times.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's on
There's not
Facebook.
like a high def version of it. It's
No.
like it's something he made from his cell phone.
I'm featured
but
in
it
that.
was-
a few
Some
times.
720p.
But it was basically just a compilation of like the most wasted moments he could find of me. And I mean, normally someone would be embarrassed by that, but I was like flattered by it because honestly, it was entertaining as fuck.
Yo, all right, Tommy. So one thing I want to go into, I pride myself, Jared, on being a movie connoisseur. You could see if you look around the room, I got a lot of things, involved with movies. But listen,
Quest.
Tommy, I mentioned earlier that he's put me onto a lot of music. He took me in depths of Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep, but this man also put me onto movies that I would say changed my life and also affected me for like weeks and months after I watched them.
Wow.
Okay, just to talk about a few, okay? One of them was a movie called Kids. Okay?
Oh God.
And let me just say this. I don't want to even go into what the details of that movie are about because those of you who know what Kids is about, you know it's a fucked up movie.
I was hoping you would mention a movie I actually liked.
I know. I got more. But this is the reason I want to mention this is because I was at his house and he goes, hey, man, there's a movie you want to watch, you need to watch this movie. So he puts it on for me and then he left the room. And I was like, well, I don't know why he would leave the room. And then I watched the movie in his house
You watched the entire movie
by myself.
solo?
And I said, I see why he left the room, dude. Okay?
What the
I
fuck?
understand why he left the room, okay?
Still not cool of me to leave you.
It's
alone
okay.
with that movie.
Listen. But it's a movie that, like,
That's funny as
you know,
fuck, dude.
you
I
don't
love
want to watch it,
We
but at the
also
same
watched
time,
Midnight Express together.
that was okay. I got
And
that
like
on my
a really
list.
dark summer.
That's another movie. Okay, Midnight Express. Go into details. Was it Oliver Stone? Was that an early Oliver Stone flick, or who was the
he
director?
wrote the script
Okay,
and won Mad Awards, and that's why I let him do Scarface and let him do Platoon, obviously.
fucked up movie about an American prisoner who goes to prison in Turkey. Listen, if you want to watch some shit that will fuck you up and have you thinking for a while, that's another one. Just some other quick movies you put me on
that
too.
and between that and Kids, man.
Kids
Like,
is fucked up.
everything else seems
Real
fucking
quick, 21 grams.
Ooh.
Okay, do you know 21
Yeah.
grams, Jared?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We watched that movie, Tommy, and I remember like Benicio was in it. It was a Sean Penn flick, but like for some reason that movie stuck with me for like weeks after I watched it. I don't know if it was like the time in my life I watched it or the subject matter in it, but like walking away from that film, I was like, dude, that was heavy. It's a heavy movie. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, that's a heavy one.
It's got a bunch of different elements in it.
That's another reason why Naomi Watts is my favorite actress of all time. Between that and Mulholland Drive,
Yes.
she is incredible. But the weird thing is, I bought that movie and I've never watched it since I bought it because it's almost like I'm saving it for like a special occasion. And yes, I've seen it before, but it's just like
It's hot.
it's one of those things that's so powerful.
Yes.
Popping the
It's like,
cellophane on a
you
nice
know.
vintage.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that movies to me are just so important. And like
Yeah.
that, like when people ask me my favorite type of movie, I just say powerful. I'm like a movie with power that invokes a lot of emotion and that is unique and that taps into different parts of your psyche that you aren't normally comfortable, you know, tapping into. So that's, you know, straight up. But please continue.
Just the last one I want to talk about, and then we can end on a good note.
Last one, you only talked about two.
Well, I know, but this one means a lot to me
Okay.
because it's featured on my wall over here, and it became my favorite movie ever after you showed it to me, which is Raging Bull.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord.
So I
Such a
remember,
good flick.
great flick. So I think it was Halloween actually when we watched it, because I remember like it was when I met you. We went to a few different Halloween parties. We came back to your crib. You were living at North Scottsdale, and you were just like, you put on a movie before we end up crashing out, and it was Raging Bull. And I remember you ended up passing out because we were drunk. I stayed up and watched the entire movie.
In my
And I
defense,
was-
it's like a 3.5 hour movie.
Correct. And that's the
But
impact.
that's so Dom too. That's so on brand. Just like this is
Dude.
sick.
Well, because it was Scorsese. Now, I was already a Goodfellas fan. I was already a Casino fan. And Tommy put me on again to something I'd never seen. And De Niro's performance in that movie, it's evident why he won the Oscar. I mean, the movie was powerful. Him embodying Jake LaMotta, one of the craziest boxers of all time, one of the best boxers of all time. And man, like that movie left an impact on me, and it is my favorite movie of all time.
So fucking good.
Man, listen, Tommy, it's been real, man. We appreciate you and thank you for being on, man.
And straight up, my last words, I had them on the tip of my tongue. What was I going to say? I was going to say...
What do you think about the pod, man? From what you've been seeing?
Oh, yeah.
talk
I
about
love it. It gets me through some long drives, gets me through some otherwise boring days when it's like when you don't necessarily want to jam, you want to hear something in the background that's really going to take you mentally into a good, you know, conversation with yourself, shit like that. And that's what I like about it. So I'm going to personally say I fucking love the fact that my kid brother Dominic is doing this kick-ass project. Jared, you're a badass.
Appreciate you, man.
Much
Yeah.
love to Ear
Likewise.
God, a.k.a. Drew. You're not here tonight, but, you know, I appreciate you overseeing the technical aspects of this. Also want to say a shout out to your other cousin, fucking Vince, because he's the cat who got your boy a little Wu-Tang Clan ticket for tomorrow. And you know, when it comes to Wu-Tang, man, that's more than just fucking fan shit. That's motherfucking soldier shit, dude. So straight up, dude. and we're not stopping anytime soon, man. You know, I know the young cats, man, they might not understand where we're coming from, but we're gonna keep creating content, and I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna start doing some dumbass TikTok shit for Cadaver Dogs and for City of Demons, and keep fucking. I want to reach out to any artists that want to be a part of the City of Demons, because you know you're welcome to submit artwork and make some money off of it. And straight up, peace to the gods, man, the gods and the earth, man. You know, we got mad love. Anybody who's listening right now, you're our fucking family, you're our brethren, you're our people. We just want to say peace. Like the RZA said in the Gravedigger shit, positive energy activates constant elevation. Straight up and down, baby. Yeah, and we ain't even trying to plug anything after that. It's just the reality. Stay alive, stay healthy, keep it real, stay dangerous, stay hardcore. Keep loving your motherfucking heart and your soul, baby.
Girl, I feel that I be cheating you if I continue to see you. If you're into get serious, I'm not, cause I'm still curious. Girl, I feel that I be cheating you if I continue to see you. If you're into get serious, I'm not, cause I'm still curious. You can call on me, I won't leave you lonely, so don't go away. And girl, I want you to stay.